Step 1, drive to Starbucks. 2, order the Starbucks. Can I get 1 oat milk latte?
Anything else?
With peppermint syrup, please?
Yep.
Cheers. Thank you. Step 3, drink coffee. Welcome to another video on my channel. If you don't know about the oat milk latte with peppermint syrup, what can I say? You guys are missing out. I have got a good video today for you guys. I'm just on my way to the training ground now. I'm going to start with a little training session and then we shall get into it. I'm going to work on a drill today that's focusing on interceptions. How quickly can I get the ball under control, find one of the mini goals. It's good for anyone, to be fair. Defenders, midfielders, anyone can do this. There's loads of benefits to it. And then I'll finish with a little strike into the goal. Things to think about in this drill, right? You got to try and do it with an intensity. There's no point going through the motions. Get the touch out of your feet, focus on that first touch and find the pass quickly into the goals. What will happen is the more reps you do, the more tired you'll get. And that's when you really got to concentrate on your technique and finding the mini goals, finding the big goal. It's a blow, to be fair. And also, try and assess the flight of the ball as quickly as possible. If it's short into you, can you move onto it, play first time? If it's long or bobbling into you, that's when you know you've got to move your feet quickly, be aware of your touch, find a goal. Also, if you make a mistake, don't worry about it, let it go. Look, I'm playing on a really bobbly pitch right now. It's coming up at me, left, right and centre. But it's better if you just get it out of your system, carry on with the drill so you build that continuation, and that's when you'll really start to notice benefits. Just got to Fago, guys. I feel like this is the only place that you lot see me eat at. And it's only because in my area, there's nowhere else that's really quick, easy and healthy for me to eat at. So it's either I eat here or I go home and cook. And when I do like 2 or 3 sessions in a day, sometimes it's just, I don't have the time to cook. I even walked in here just now and the lady goes to me on, "Not you again." They all know me in here. I think I'm gonna get just something light, quick and easy, just to refuel after this morning session before I do my next one. They've got a new smoothie on their menu. Obviously I know the menu off by heart. This is a new addition. It's not bad. Almond butter, almond milk, banana and spinach, I think. Having it though. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot for that.
Any condiments or sauces? I don't know what we'd have.
Nah, that's alright. That's good for me. Nice one.
Drink.
As far as smashed avocado, salmon and poached eggs go, very good. 8.5 out of 10 I'll give it. Alright, so let's talk about making it pro. I get asked all the time, how do you make it pro, what have I got to do? And to be honest, there's so many videos out there telling you how to make it pro, and there's not that many that will give you the reasons as to why you won't make it, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about. During my football career, one of the biggest things that stood out to me as to why players don't make it pro or even to a good level is actually something that's not really spoken about or even thought about, to be honest, and that is football players when training are focusing on the wrong types of drills. There's so many people nowadays, from youngsters to even current professional footballers, that spend way too much time doing these wrong drills, these wrong types of training drills. I see it all the time, right? And it's hard because nowadays on Instagram and YouTube you see all these just like nonsense training drills scattered all over the place, and they can easily suck you into doing these sorts of drills which aren't going to benefit you. What you need to do is try and come away from them and actually focus on doing drills that are going to benefit you in training and actually transfer well onto the training pitch. You know, when you see people doing drills in tight areas or confined spaces that don't really involve that much movement, things like dribbling in and out of cones, little toe taps on a spot, them sorts of drills aren't going to benefit you when it comes to getting onto the actual training pitch or in games. All they're really doing is having a detrimental effect on your training regime, right? You got to think about it. You're not getting much out of them. You're unnecessarily tiring yourself out, and essentially you're just wasting your time. See, the way you got to look at it is football is played on a massive area, on a big pitch, right? So what you've got to try and do is focus on replicating game-like scenarios, and then you can take that onto the training pitch. On top of that, when you are training, make sure you're doing drills that are specific to your actual position. So if you're a centre-back, practice heading. If you're a winger, practice dribbling in and out of cones in large areas, turning sharply. If you're a centre-mid, practice your long passing, striker, finishing. There's no point practicing crossing if you're a centre-half. Do you know what I mean? Make it specific to your position. And what I want to finish on, lastly, is when the next time you see someone doing drills on Instagram or YouTube, ask yourself, is this something that's going to benefit my game? Because if it isn't, don't waste your time on it. I'm gonna do a little leg session today. So I've already done 2 this week and 2 plyometric sessions. So I've had a big week in terms of the legs. But I'm gonna do a little bit of like supplementary exercises that you don't really see in the big leg sessions. So like no squats, no deadlifts today. Apart from a little bit of leg press, I'm gonna do all the stuff that you wouldn't really train to sort of target the smaller muscles that are still just as important. So start with a little bit of foam rolling, get myself out to the gym and bang out this session. So not many people know this, right? I'm just currently warming up at the minute, but depending on where you put your feet on the leg press machine, it dictates what muscles you're actually working. So my feet are high and narrow as opposed to being high and wide, low and narrow, low and wide. And that means that I'll work more of my outer quads and my glutes, which are areas that I'm looking to strengthen. So, gym done, and it brings me nicely on to my next point. Look after your body. This for me is an absolute non-negotiable. Your body is a temple, right? So the better you look after it off the pitch, the better it's going to operate and function when you get on the pitch. You're going to have less injuries, you're going to be able to play for longer, you're going to have more peak performances, you're going to perform at an optimum level for a lot longer. So for me, it really is a non-negotiable, this one. You look at the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, right at the top of the game. He says that recovery, looking after his body, is the #1 thing. Hence why he's been able to play at the very top level until 37, probably going to keep going until he's 40. These things, it's not a coincidence, it's not luck, it's hard work, dedication. It's taking care of your body and everything else. So things that you want to start implementing into your training regime and lifestyle, if you haven't already, that you need to do. Make sure you have sorted out your diet. Your food and nutrition needs to be on point. It's a massive part of looking after your body. If you don't know what to eat, go out and educate yourself. I've released some videos in the past on what you should and should not eat day before a game and training, etc. Number 2, correct sleep. Sleep is absolutely massive. I actually saw the other day that Ronaldo invested in a mattress that was like 35 grand or something. Just crazy. Obviously, you don't need to do that. But what I'm saying is, make sure you're getting the appropriate sleep that your body needs. So I've got obviously a Whoop that I wear on my wrist every day. Tracks my sleep. Probably the best tool when it comes to tracking recovery and knowing how well you are recovered is Whoop. So if you can't afford the 35 grand mattress, get yourself on Whoop, you know. That'll be a little game changer for you. Things like foam rolling to make sure that your muscles are in a good place before and after training, absolutely vital. Stretching, you know, so you're less likely to get injured, your muscles are flexible, strong. That's a big one for me. And I briefly mentioned it there, right? Ronaldo investing 35 grand into the best mattress on the market. And I'm not telling you guys to go out there, sell an arm and a leg to be able to afford the best mattress on the market. But what I am saying is you need to adopt that mentality of invest in your bodies now, knowing that it's going to pay off in the long run. You look at the footballers that are at the top of the game, and I know that they've worked very hard, got a lot of money now, so they're able to afford these sort of things, but they have personal chefs to make sure that their nutrition is always spot on. They invest in the best training and recovery equipment, so when they're at home after training, they're able to make sure that their body is recovering well and they're able to go again the next day. They go outside of clubs and see sports massage therapists, physios, osteopaths to make sure their body is moving correctly and operating at its highest level. They even building swimming pools into their houses now. So, and I'm not saying for you guys to go out there and invest in a swimming pool. What you could do, right, is sign up to a gym if you haven't already. 25, 30 pounds a month. One that has a pool. You get down there in the evenings for 20 minutes, you feel a lot better. Active recovery in the pool, going into training the next day, feeling fresh. So these things now for any aspiring footballer is absolutely imperative because the competition out there is so rife, okay? And people know that they need to do everything they can to get that extra edge on their opponents. All these little 1% will add up and ultimately it's only going to pay off for you guys in the long run. This meal is a cheat code. If you're ever feeling ravenous and you can't afford to have a big plate of carbs for dinner because you've not done much in a day, guess what? Lentil pasta is the way forward. It's high in protein and it's low in carbs, so you haven't expended much energy throughout the day. You want to stay on top of your proteins, but you're starving. What do? Get on the lentil pasta. The third and final point, and what I think is the most important in order for someone to make it as a professional footballer, is mentality. And obviously mentality is a broad topic. So what I like to do is break it down into 3 different parts. First part being, and what I think is the most important part of mentality, self-discipline. I cannot stress how important self-discipline is in football. It's everything from working on your game, your diet, recovery, sleep, and the actual definition of self-discipline is your ability to push forwards and take action regardless of how you feel mentally or physically. Notice the part where it says regardless of how you're feeling mentally or physically. That is the key part. See, it's easy to do the right habits when you're motivated, and I've seen it where players are playing well, they're in good form, they're motivated, and they're able to stay disciplined and do the right stuff. But on the other hand, I've seen it countless times where players lose that motivation, they don't have that belief in themselves. They might lack a little bit of form, and what they'll do is go out on a Saturday night with the boys, have a few beers, think it's all right, it's not going to do any harm, or you know, they won't eat healthily, they'll go and stop off at a Mackie D's on the way home from training. The self-discipline goes out the window. It's usually through a rough patch, and you guys have probably had that before as well, you know, when you're not feeling as motivated because maybe things aren't going your way and you're struggling to keep up with those good habits. And look, I know I have, but the good thing is that you can build that muscle of self-discipline. The first thing you got to do is know your strengths and weaknesses, and you got to be honest with yourself, right? Once you know what your weaknesses are, that's when you can start removing temptations. So I'll give you an example. I love sugary foods. I absolutely love cake, sweets, chocolate, you name it, right? I love it. So what do? When I go food shopping, I make sure that I never buy any junk food, because if it's in the house, then I'm tempted. So I've just completely eradicated that. It's never in my house. Out of sight, out of mind. And by me removing that temptation, I'm building my self-discipline. For you guys, it might be your sleep, which is super important for recovery. You get into bed and you start scrolling on Instagram, on your phone. Half an hour goes by, an hour goes by, and before you know it, you end up having a late night. So what you could do instead, for example, is put your phone in another room. Yeah, it might be difficult to start off with, but over time and gradually you'll start seeing your sleep improves. And what else happens? Your self-discipline gets stronger. So what you do then is apply it to different areas of your life, and ultimately you're only gonna increase your self-discipline and also increase your chances of becoming a professional footballer. Part number 2, sacrifice. And I have been around a lot of footballers in my career who think that they're sacrificing enough to get to the top, but they ain't. That's my opinion. In my opinion, they didn't sacrifice enough in order to get to the top. And we all know, we've all seen it. You know, the players who are unbelievably talented, and we all sit there and think to myself, so how comes they never made it? Most of the time, for me, it's because they didn't sacrifice what they needed to in order to get to the top level. You got to understand that in any field, in order to make it to the top, you have got to sacrifice a lot. You've got to be ready for your mates saying to you, and I've heard this all before, Taff, why are you not drinking? Or Taff, you're not coming out tonight, mate. Like, what's going on? You're being boring. These things, all right, I've had all throughout my career, and so many other top professional footballers would have had that. I remember I watched something on TV, Daniel Sturridge was saying he was always able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. He sacrificed everything that he possibly could because he knew that if he did that, it was going to pay off in the long run. Even though I've made it to a decent level in football, I still sacrifice to this day because I'm not where I want to be. There's times when I've got to do extra training and the weather is so bad, the pitch is just real muddy, and I could easily say, you know what, forget this, but I still make sure I go and get it done. There's even been times when I've been on holiday and I'll be with my friends or my family, we're chilling around the pool, and I make sure that I sacrifice my comfort to still go and train. Part 3 of mentality. I've heard you can tell a lot about a person from how they hold up. The number 3. This is me though. Meditation and visualization. These are two habits that I have started doing every single day for maybe the last 4 or 5 years now. There's a lot of people in football and even in society that look down on it, right? But I cannot stress enough how big of an impact these two have had on my football. What meditation does is it helps you to have more awareness with yourself. It helps to keep you calm. It helps to keep your emotions in check, especially in the heat of a game. And with visualization, it helps you to better prepare mentally for a game. If you look at some of the top athletes in the world, from Michael Phelps to Kobe Bryant, Muhammad Ali, Pele, Anthony Joshua, they have all talked about how meditation and visualization has helped propel them right to the top of their respective sports. I've told you guys this story before, but I remember a couple of years ago I was playing for Peterborough and we had Aston Villa in the FA Cup. And I remember the night before in the hotel, I was sitting there meditating and visualizing how the game was going to go the next day. It was a massive game for us because John Terry, who just left Chelsea, was playing for Aston Villa. All our fans were buzzing for it away at Aston Villa in the third round of the FA Cup. And I sat there in my hotel room and I was thinking, imagine if I was to score the winner tomorrow from a corner, John Terry marking me, how good would that feel? So in my head, I played it over and over and over again, right? Ball coming in from the left-hand side, me getting in front of John Terry and heading it in. Got to the game the next day. We're playing really well. 1-0, 82 minutes in, we get a corner from that side that I'd visualized over and over again. It was my stronger side. And John Terry was marking me. Ball comes in, get in front of him, bosh, 2-1 to Peterborough, and we end up winning the game. And that's just an example of how powerful visualization is. A lot of you might be sitting there thinking, what a coincidence, da 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 da. But honestly, like, you are able to, I don't want to use the word manifest, but you're able to make things happen for you through the power of visualization. And the sports psychologist we have at the club here, she sat down with me once and said to me, and this is something you guys can do at home, right? Practice this. Visualize yourself, Ryan, hitting a 60-yard diagonal pass with your left foot, which is my strong foot. I shut my eyes, I did it, and do you know what? It was easy, it was crystal clear in my mind. She then said to me, visualize yourself hitting a diag with your right foot, 60 yards, pinpoint accuracy, 10 times. I did it, but it was just a little bit more blurry in my head. And she said to me, if you do this 20, 30 times a day, hitting a 60-yard diag is just an example, but if you do this 20, 30 times a day, you're actually going to improve your technique when it comes to your right foot. It will start, the images will start to become more clearer, and when you get out on a training pitch or in a game, your technique will have improved. When it comes to meditation, all you've got to do is find a quiet place where you can close your eyes and focus on your breath. And any time your mind wanders, you just bring it back to your breath. You'll struggle in the beginning, but if you have that self-discipline to do it every day, you'll find that you'll be more focused going into games. And if you do make mistakes in games, you'll be able to bring your mind back. You watch Ronaldo when he's in a pressure situation, like taking a big penalty. He takes them deep breaths to bring him back to focus and to cut out all the noise. And visualization is similar to meditation, but instead of focusing on your breath, you're picturing different events that can happen during the game. The goods, the bad. So if you're a defender, you'll visualize an opponent running at you. You'll try to picture how to defend it. And the key here is to imagine different scenarios that may come about in a game. So if they do come about, you're then better prepared for them. And on that note, this is the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section below. Please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.